comes from? It doesn't come from the store where you may purchase it. It comes from a watershed. Even the tap water in your kitchen sink comes from a watershed. A watershed is an area of land where water in the form of rain or snow drains and collects into a common area. Rivers and lakes, as well as other bodies of water, all make up a watershed. I'm Myra, and today at Think Tank Time, we're going to explore the different areas of a watershed, including your local river, a lake, and even the ocean. When we understand what areas make up a watershed, we can help to take care of the natural habitat for steelhead trout. But remember, in nature and in our lives, there are things that we can and can't control. Alright, if you're ready, let's get started. You may have a river like this one near your home, but did you know that every creek and stream are part of a larger area where water sheds from the top of the mountains down to a lake or the sea? This area of land is called a watershed, and everyone lives in a watershed. And it doesn't matter if you live in the mountains or near the beach, you live in a place where water moves from high places to low places, and everywhere in between. In a minute, we'll take a look around in this part of our watershed. And as we explore, I'd like for you to keep two questions in your mind. First, what kind of water do we find in rivers and streams? Is it salt water or fresh water? And what kind of animals might we expect to find living in this habitat? As you observe, write down 5 thoughts in your Think Tank journal. I bet you made wonderful observations. I noticed that this is a freshwater stream, and some of the animals that we might find here include mammals like deer, amphibians like frogs, birds, and of course, fish. In a moment, we'll connect with Cynthia, who will help us explore the next part of a watershed, the lake. But before we do, I want us to take one last look around to see if you spot anything, I don't know, out of place. Do you see it? That's right. There's some litter here. Let's try and leave our places better than we found them. So, I'm gonna pick this up and bring it back with me. Because, as you know, in nature and in our lives, there are things that we can and can't control. But this, how we leave the river behind, this is something that we can control. Okay, now let's connect with Cynthia, who's waiting for us at the lake.
Hi everyone, welcome to the lake. Did you know that a lake is also part of the watershed? As you can see, a lake is a body of water surrounded by land. Have you ever been to a lake? Do you know where the lake water comes from? Lakes get their water from rain, snow, melting ice, or streams, so they have fresh water. Lakes and ponds are sometimes called lentic ecosystems, which means that it has still waters, unlike the moving stream that Myra just showed us. What kind of animals would you expect to find at a lake? Write down your thoughts in your Think Tank journal. Not all lakes look like this one. Perhaps you visited another freshwater body, like a reservoir. To some people, a lake and a reservoir may look very similar, but a reservoir is actually made by humans. When we build a barrier across a river, also known as a dam, the river water backs behind the dam, creating a reservoir. When we release our trout, we may release them downstream of a dam. Some of the trout we raise may end up in a lake like this one, while others, like the steelhead trout, will migrate to the ocean. Let's head over to Charlie. She will show us the next part of the watershed.
Thanks, Cynthia, for showing us the lake, which is also part of a watershed. Do you hear that sound? That's the ocean. Did you know that the ocean is part of a watershed? Welcome to the ocean, home to many critters like starfish, sea mussels, and for today, you and me. Have you ever been to the ocean? If so, what do you remember from your time there? Today we're going to be exploring the ocean and looking at the different features. So I want you to pull out your Think Tank journal and draw a picture as we explore. Come on, let's go. This plant right here is called ice plant. It's pretty common at beaches, and you'll notice that it takes over a lot of the land. Some people say it tastes like strawberries. All right, it might be a little loud here. What do you notice about the waves? What do you see? I think we'll head over there to try and find some starfish or maybe some sea mussels. Check it out. So we made it over to the cliff and look what's growing all over the edges. Some sea kelp. There's a ton of it. Let's go explore these little tide pools over here. See what we can find. We have some little baby barnacles growing. All right, check what I just found. It looks like a crab of some sort. Check it out. Thank you to Myra and Cynthia for showing us the other parts of the watershed. If you remember at the beginning of our video, we asked you a question. Do you know where your drinking water comes from? I hope that now you know that it comes from a watershed after we've explored all three parts of it. Today we've learned about the different features of the watershed, and we talked a little bit about what we can do to prevent things from getting into the watershed. But in nature and our lives, there are things that we can and can't control. For example, something like soil erosion can really impact a river, and we don't have a lot of impact on that. But there are certain things that we do have an impact on, like cleaning up our litter and picking up after ourselves when we've gone to these amazing places like the ocean. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you join us in our next video where we release our fish into the wild. See you next time.